Hi, welcome to the Domestic Violence Court orientation video put together for you by Legal Aid Society of the Dade County Bar Association. You've probably been through a lot already and are preparing to go to domestic violence court for a permanent restraining order or permanent injunction. We've put together this video to make the whole process a lot simpler and hopefully a lot easier for you. Let's start with the basics: the who, what, where, when, why, and how of domestic violence court. First, let's start with why go to domestic violence court. Why would you need a permanent injunction? If you have been a victim of domestic violence or repeat violence and you are afraid that the offender will harm you again, you will need a permanent injunction. However, it is often difficult to determine whether what has happened to you amounts to domestic violence or repeat violence. You may feel that you in some way started the arguments that led to violence, or that you in some way brought the harm upon yourself. If you are unsure about such domestic violence or repeat violence issues, talk to a counselor at the Safe Space Shelter. Now, who goes to domestic violence court? The answer is anyone, male or female, who lives in Florida and has been a victim of domestic violence or repeat violence. What's the difference between domestic violence and repeat violence? The difference lies mainly in the victim's relationship to the offender. Domestic violence, as defined by Florida statute, occurs when an assault, battery, sexual assault, sexual battery, or stalking takes place between spouses, ex-spouses, relatives by blood or marriage, people who live or have lived together, or people who have a child together, whether they have ever lived together or not. Domestic violence, mind you, does not have to be physical violence. An assault can occur where someone intentionally threatens to cause you physical violence, even if they do not touch you. This threat must be by word or act. The person threatening you must have done something to make you believe that they actually have the ability to cause you physical violence, and you must actually believe that this violence is about to happen. Repeat violence, on the other hand, does not have the requirement of relationship that domestic violence does. Anyone can claim repeat violence, but one incident of violence must have taken place within the last 6 months. What is a permanent injunction? A permanent injunction is an order by the court that is given, generally, to force someone to do something or to prevent someone from doing something. For example, the court can order a permanent injunction to prevent a company from constructing a building, or to prevent a salesman from selling goods in a certain area. In your case, the court grants a permanent injunction to prevent the violent person from harming you again. This may be accomplished by granting you the exclusive use and possession of the home that you shared with the violent person. If the violent person refuses to leave the home and makes any attempt to return to the home, he or she will be in violation of the permanent injunction, will be guilty of a crime, and may be arrested. The offender also risks arrest if he or she approaches you in public, threatens you by word or act, or even comes near you. This means the offender cannot hang out at the places you like to go without a legitimate reason for being there, or hang out near your work or school. The offender also violates the permanent injunction and risks arrest if he or she makes harassing phone calls to you, drives by your house, or engages in typical stalking behavior. Now, we know a piece of paper can't stop a bullet, but if the violent person threatens you and it is an emergency, the police will come right away if you call them. As I said before, a permanent injunction may also be used to get exclusive use and possession of the home that you shared with the violent person. Additionally, you can ask the domestic violence judge to make an order of temporary custody of the children that you have with the offender, and also an order of temporary child support for those children. Be sure to tell the court coordinator what your needs are. When can you get a permanent injunction? You are in a position to get a permanent injunction when you live in Florida, you are related to the offender, or you live or have lived with the offender. Also, you are in a position to get a permanent injunction if you have been the victim of one incident of repeat violence in the last 6 months. After filing for and obtaining a temporary restraining order, you will be given a hearing date for the permanent injunction based on the petition that you filed for the temporary restraining order. Once it is granted by the judge, a permanent injunction usually lasts a year and may be extended with proper notice. Where do you get a permanent injunction? A permanent injunction is granted by a domestic violence judge at Domestic Violence Court, which is located in the Richard E. Gersten Justice Building at 1351 Northwest 12th Street, Miami. The proceedings are usually held in a judge's chambers, which is like a large office, not like a courtroom you would see on TV. There will be no jury. Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk a little about what will go on at the permanent injunction hearing, and then we'll watch a permanent injunction hearing. To make the whole process simple for you, we have broken it down into 3 stages: before, during, and after the permanent injunction hearing. This is what will take place before your hearing. Since you have already completed the forms to obtain a temporary restraining order, you have or will soon have a date for the permanent injunction hearing. As you may remember from filling out that form, you told the court counselor what happened to you. It is important to remember that you will also be asked to tell this story to the judge when you go to court. Going to court can be a very nerve-wracking experience. Therefore, we recommend that you write down what you want to tell the judge and take it with you when you go to court to look back on, just in case you get nervous. It is best to give the background of what took place in the order that the events occurred. This will be easiest for the judge to understand. It is also very helpful if you have some records of the event. Were the police called? A police report is helpful, so are hospital or doctor's records. Did you go to the emergency room? If you simply bought cold compresses and you have receipts from the drugstore, bring those with you to court. Also, if you still have bruises or marks, have someone at the Safe Space Shelter take photos of your injuries with the date on the back. As we all know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Also, if there were witnesses to the violence, relatives, a friend, a neighbor, you will want to bring them with you to court to testify to what took place. Remember, children are not good witnesses. They will not be allowed to testify and are best kept out of matters like domestic violence. We want to protect them. Once the date for your appearance in court is set, the offender will receive notice of the permanent injunction hearing and will be ordered to appear. If he or she does not appear, don't worry. The permanent injunction may still be granted if the offender was properly informed of the hearing. And regardless, the temporary restraining order is still in effect until the permanent injunction can be heard. On the date of the hearing, you will go to the Richard E. Gersten Justice Building at 1351 Northwest 12th Street, Miami. You should dress appropriately for court. Shorts, activewear, jeans, and sexy clothing are not appropriate. We recommend slacks, skirts, with a jacket or a sweater, a dress like one you might wear to church, or a suit and dress shirt. If you are unsure about what you are wearing, ask some of the staff at the Safe Space Shelter if what you have chosen to wear is appropriate. Now, you're ready to go to court. This is what will take place during your permanent injunction hearing. When you arrive at court and find your courtroom, you will check in with the bailiff who will let you know when it is your turn to see the judge. Outside of the courtroom, you will talk to the court coordinator. If you have children with the offender and need to set up visitation schedules and temporary child support, the court counselor will assist you with this. Also, tell the court coordinator if you have brought witnesses with you. When the bailiff calls your name, you will enter the judge's chambers. You will sit at one end of the table, and the offender will sit at the other. If necessary, the bailiff will sit between you to make sure that no harm comes to you. Be aware that special rules apply in the courtroom. For example, the judge will want to hear both sides of the story, but only from one of you at a time. Therefore, it is best not to speak unless spoken to. Of course, if you have a question or need to tell the judge something, you need only ask. However, it is best to always address the judge as Your Honor. For example, if you need to ask the judge something, you might say, "Your Honor, may I please ask a question?" Most importantly, try to be clear when you tell the judge your story. Try to describe the events in the order that they took place and avoid any unnecessary details. Be sure to tell the judge if you have evidence in the form of photos, police records, hospital records, or witnesses. Remember that in order for the judge to be legally able to grant the permanent injunction you request, you must show that there has been or is a likelihood of domestic violence, or that there has been one incident of violence in the last 6 months. Also, you must be sure that the judge knows that you are in fear of the offender. Without these elements, the judge is legally unable to grant your permanent injunction. So if the judge asks you if you are afraid of the offender, don't be too proud to admit your fear or worry what the offender might think. If you tell the judge that you're not afraid of the offender, why should he or she grant a permanent injunction ordering that person to stay away from you? To get an idea of what your day in court may be like, let's watch this permanent injunction hearing.
Sir, just come stand right there, please. Ma'am. I need to swear both of you in. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God. Please answer, I do.
I do.
All right, please be seated. Have a seat there, sir. Have a seat. That's the judge there.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello.
You're Amy Smith?
Yes.
Bill Smith?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, Mr. Smith, did you get a copy of the petition filed in this case, sir?
Yes.
You have a chance to read it?
Yeah.
Did you understand everything that you read in there?
Yep.
Do you have any initial response that you want to tell me about the petition?
I think it's all a bunch of lies.
Okay, sir. Ms. Smith, why don't you tell me what's going on, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor. I was getting home late from work on Friday from the garment factory, and you see, I've been given the chance to do some extra piecework for Mr. Garcia. He's my boss.
Are you going to tell the judge that you're doing a little more than just piecework?
Mr. Smith, let me explain something to you. Number one, you only talk to one person in this courtroom. That's me. Number two, you don't interrupt. I'll give you an opportunity to tell me your side of the story. Understood, sir?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, sir. Go ahead, ma'am.
Well, we need the extra money, and I've been staying late to do some extra work. And, well, Bill is mad about it, and, well, he thinks I'm having an affair with Mr. Garcia. But I'm not, and he's married. Anyway, last week, Bill came into the lunchroom and made a big scene. And he came in at lunchtime, and he grabbed me out of the chair by the arm, and he pulled me so hard out of the chair that the chair flipped backwards, and Mr. Garcia came into the lunchroom to see what was wrong, and Bill pushed me behind him and said to Mr. Garcia, you know, stay away from Amy, and don't forget about her ever staying late at work again. So I kept trying to get in front of him to calm him down, because Bill has a very bad temper. And the more I kept trying to get in front of him, he kept pushing me behind him. Well, finally, he pushed me so hard that I fell backwards and I hit my head. And and he kept screaming to Mr. Garcia, you see what happens when you mess with other men's wives? And and then he said, stay away from Amy. And he took me home. I thought that I was definitely going to lose my job and I was going to be fired. But I talked to Mr. Garcia, and he said that if it never happened again, that he would just forget about it. But I had to tell Bill that he had to stay away from work. So when I told Bill that, he said, if you ever stay late again at work, you're going to be sorry for it. But I need the extra money, Your Honor, and I need the extra money, so I needed to stay late. So I decided to just stay a half an hour late every day. And I was good about doing that, but Friday I got held up a little bit, and I was late, and then I missed the bus. So I ended up being a whole hour late from work. And when I got home, I saw Bill, and he was on the porch, and he was very angry and very drunk. And I walked up the walkway, and he came over to me, and he grabbed me by the wrist, and he twisted my arm, and he said, "I told you not to stay late from work, Amy. Get in the house." And he opened up the front door and pushed me in the house. But I guess he was drunk and didn't realize that the screen door was shut. So when he pushed me in the door, my eye got all cut up and everything, and my face was bruised, and there were scratches and on my face and my neck. And Lily, who's my neighbor who took me to the hospital, she took these Polaroids.
Mr. Harris, you want to bring those over?
And I also have the records from the emergency room.
Okay, do you have a copy of those with you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you give those to, are they in here?
Yeah.
In this envelope?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead, ma'am. Anything else you want to tell me?
That's the whole story.
Are you afraid of Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Harris, I'd like you to have Mr. Smith take a look at these, please.
Thanks.
Mr. Smith, let me hear your side of the story, sir.
Well, she's blown it all out of proportion, Judge. I mean, don't believe it for a second that she's not cheating on me. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, why else would Mr. Garcia ask her to stay late?
Bill, I told you all the other...
Ms. Smith, same rules apply to you. No interruptions. I'll give you a chance to talk, okay? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Well, I did what any man would do. I told him to back off, and I told Amy to come home, you know, directly after work. So, I mean, we don't need the money that bad.
Sir, I'm not going to tell you again. You need to talk to me. You don't talk to her. You talk to me. I'm the one that's going to make the decision in this case, okay?
Okay.
All right. Continue.
Well, when she was late Friday, I was a little mad. So, you know, I had a couple drinks. I mean, Judge, you would understand. I mean, come on, let's be real. And I didn't push her that hard. I mean, the kids must have locked the gate from the inside, the screen door. I mean, and I wasn't that drunk.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Just a minute. You have anything else you want to tell me, sir, at this point?
No, that's about all.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm really afraid that Bill's going to do this kind of thing again. And I really need the money from work. So, from what I understand, if you give us this injunction, if you grant us this injunction, then we'll be able to go to domestic violence counseling and a support group and get some help for Bill and me. And I was just wondering that if we did all of this, you know, maybe after we go through all this counseling and I feel safe, maybe I can get back together with Bill after that.
Is that what you would like to do at some point?
When I feel safe.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me, sir?
No, that's about it. That's all.
Okay. Based on the testimony of the witnesses, court finds that domestic violence has taken place and that, in fact, domestic violence may take place in the future. Therefore, the court is going to grant the injunction. What this means is as follows. Number one, Mr. Smith, you can have no contact with Mrs. Smith. You can't call her on the phone. You can't go to the house. You can't go to where she's working. You cannot
Don't you find
send
that a
her
little
any...
harsh?
Excuse me, sir. Let me finish. You cannot send her any cards, letters, flowers, faxes, beeps, or any other form of communication. You can have no contact with her whatsoever. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. This court order will last for a period of 1 year. If you need to have this court order renewed, you need to let the court know approximately 90 days prior to the time that the order will expire. You will not get any kind of notice about this, so this is something that you need to keep track of. Okay, do you folks have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
Okay. Have the children been involved in some of these things that have been going on between you and Mr. Smith?
No, I've tried not to let them be involved.
Okay, do you believe that they could benefit from some counseling?
Yes.
Okay, then the court is going to refer the children to the Mailman Center. That's a specialized center that deals with children whose families are having problems, such as yours. In addition, I'm going to order Mr. Smith into the Advocate Program. Mr. Smith, that is a program that deals with how one can better address domestic violence and how you deal with the kind of situation that you all have described to me that is going on here. In addition, I'm going to give Ms. Smith some information concerning some voluntary groups that she likewise can get involved in to address some of the issues that you brought up here today. I'm also going to order a task evaluation. That's a drug and alcohol evaluation. If, in fact, after the evaluation you're found not to have any kind of drug or alcohol problem, that will be the end of that part of your treatment. If, on the other hand, it's found that you do have a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you will be required to complete a drug and alcohol program. You understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I need to remind you, certain violations of this injunction are criminal offenses. If you go back to the house, if you go to where your wife works, if you and she get involved in anything that's physical, if there are any threats of any great bodily harm, all of those are criminal offenses. In addition, what is typically known as stalking, harassing telephone calls, following in a car, sitting out in front of somebody's house, going to the children's school, going to places that Miss Smith frequents, such as the gym or other places that she goes and you have no legitimate business being there. All of that is considered to be typical stalking type activity. That is likewise a criminal violation of this order. If you are found guilty of a criminal violation of this order, you can go to jail for up to 1 year. Every other violation is either a civil or a criminal contempt of this court. And if this court finds that you have willfully violated this order, then I can place you in jail for 6 months for each instance that you have violated this order. Do you understand that, sir? Do you
Yes.
understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have told me that there may be a point in time where you might want to get back together again with Mr. Smith, but now is not the time. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Should you desire to have contact with Mr. Smith, you need to let this court know. You need to petition this court for a modification of this injunction. We will hold another court hearing. If in fact the court finds that it is appropriate to have you all have contact with each other, I will set up the guidelines under which that will take place. Until you have a court hearing before me, you are not to have any contact with each other. Understood? Mr. Smith, makes no difference if Mrs. Smith invites you over for coffee to spend the night, to watch television. If you do that, you haven't had a hearing before me. That is a violation of this injunction. You understand that?
Yes.
If she comes and she invites you over, you make sure you trot down here to court and get a court hearing before you decide to go over. Understood? On the other hand, if Mrs. Smith starts to initiate contact with you, then that presumably would mean that she's no longer in fear of you. And if that occurs, you can petition this court to dissolve this injunction at any time. You understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you have any questions, ma'am, about anything that's transpired today? Sir, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, then if you folks can wait outside for a few minutes, copies of these orders will be given to you. Good luck to you both.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Any paperwork, Judge?
Yes, sir. There's paperwork. You need to have them wait back outside for the paperwork.
This one. I need you to wait where you were before, okay? For your paperwork.
Okay.
That is pretty much what you can expect when you go to court. The after part is up to you. Carry your yellow injunction form with you at all times. and don't hesitate to report domestic violence as soon as it occurs. If you'd like to review any of the information you saw here, feel free to watch any portion of this video again. Going to domestic violence court for an injunction is a big step that requires quite a lot of courage. We hope this video has made it a little easier for you. Good luck, and remember, the end to domestic violence begins with you.